football. Julio Jones may be getting traded, maybe not. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll talk about that and more. I personally don't think a deal is going to get done. I don't think Julio Jones is going to get traded because the bottom line is this: you've got a lot of concern about injury, and you've got a high price tag. I think that Atlanta is going to have that's going to be too high for a lot of teams. Like I don't see the Niners paying a first round pick. I don't see a lot of these teams giving the Atlanta Falcons enough back to make it worth getting rid of that now situation that Julio brings to the table for a team that didn't go after a rookie quarterback, for a team that just signed a 28-year-old running back to a pretty big contract, who has a short window of time, maybe 1 or 2 years. So with not going after a young rookie quarterback, with going after old aging but pretty promising running back that blew up the internet this week, it doesn't feel like a team that wants to get rid of Julio Jones. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I think the price tag is going to have to be really, really hefty for the Falcons to be like, okay, we'll give him up. And I don't think a team's willing to pay a first round type value. Although it wouldn't be shocking to me if let's say there's a conditional first rounder involved, and a team like the Niners might say, you know what? We'll give you a conditional first rounder if Julio plays X number of games. If we make it to, this stage in the playoffs, whatever. What's up, media? That to me is more of a realistic scenario that makes both parties interested. It makes a team like the Niners say, hey, we'll give up a conditional first if Julio plays 15 games, 14 games, whatever. They do have a first now, Sergio. They have a 2024 first. They can trade that first rounder now. There's a 2024 first they couldn't trade before the draft. Now that the draft's over, I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but I believe they can trade that 2024 first rounder. Media, confirm that for me. They're good at wide receiver, especially a run-heavy team. Yeah, I agree. It's news. We're talking about it, and I also feel like it probably won't happen. But we're going to talk about it tomorrow on the Quad Box. Why in the hell would they accept it? I'm just saying they have a first rounder that they could potentially give up. But another team might give a conditional first rounder too. Who knows? But I personally think a 32-year-old player with hamstring issues, a foot concern, is probably not going to get a first-round pick. I don't think you're going to get a first-round pick for Julio. So that's my other point. But if you were to do a conditional pick, it would make more sense, because then you could justify, hey, he did deliver this kind of value. It was worth the first rounder. You would win a Super Bowl potentially with Julio Jones on the roster. And Julio Jones, you wouldn't need to do what he does in Atlanta, or what he's done in Atlanta. You wouldn't need him to bring that level of production in this offense. It would be like kind of a bigger version production-wise than Antonio Brown being brought over from into a Tampa Bay Bucs situation where they literally didn't need Antonio Brown to drop like a 1,200-yard and 10 TD season, but Antonio Brown was able to help in many ways that I think go unspoken, carry this team into a position to win a Super Bowl, let alone win a Super Bowl. So, do I think that Julio Jones could do that for the Niners? Do I think Julio Jones could have a 1,000-yard or 950-yard season with like 8 touchdowns and kind of do in the touchdown department what he doesn't do in Atlanta, but maybe become some kind of touchdown guy in San Fran? Very, very possible. So I don't know what to make of it, honestly. I put out a podcast a couple days ago. Man, there are people revving their like engines all over the place while I'm trying to move around and give you guys some better audio. It's distracting. Like what do people got to floor it for right next to my live stream? I'm in the middle of a live stream. It's distracting. I can't even hear myself talk. Every wide receiver in the league, when asked who's the best wide receiver, unanimous is Julio. Yeah, people say that, but he's not anymore. That's just like respect. People are paying homage to that. He's not the number one wide receiver anymore. Julio Jones is definitely dropping off a little bit. Not to mention, probably will never play anything close to a full season again at that high level, at least. What's up, Double A? What up? What's good, Smitty? Hope you're doing well. I'd love Julio on this roster, but I think the Niners are going to get outbid. I don't know that he gets traded, period. Again, it comes down to, will a team actually give up a first rounder for him? And I don't think they would. It'd have to be conditional. There have to be something to. But here's the thing. Here's why I was talking about the Niners. And Sergio, you're right. 2024 first rounder is not not all that appealing when you compare to another offer, essentially. But if you're doing a conditional pick and you're like, hey, the player's got to play X number of games, we got to make it to this far in the playoffs, or some kind of weird structure to the deal that makes it conditionally turn into a first rounder, there's no better team than the Niners, because if Julio goes to the San Francisco 49ers, they're going to be able to get the most out of him. They're probably going to be the most likely to keep him healthy, because they're not asking him to do what other teams will essentially ask him to do if he lands in Indianapolis. They will ask him to do a lot, and he'll be probably more susceptible to injury. So if you're doing a conditional pick, San Fran is on its face the best situation to do that with if you're the team looking for a conditional pick. But I don't think he gets traded. What's good? What's good, people? All right, hit me with some other questions. So Julio Jones, my final take, and then we'll move on. I don't think the trade happens. I think that, again, like I said at the very beginning, the Falcons are built to win now. They're probably delusional in that they probably think they can, head to the Super Bowl. We all know that they won't, right? But I think that because they believe they can, a midseason trade maybe before the trade deadline, if they start off with 2 wins and they lose, 5, 6 games, whatever, and then they're like, let's trade Julio. I could see that happening. And I've gone on record saying if a trade happens, it's going to be a midseason trade. I don't really believe anything can happen. We certainly are not caught off guard anymore in this life that we now live post COVID-19. Like, anything's possible. Like, nothing shocks me anymore at all. But I think most likely Julio will not be traded, because the Falcons are built to win now with the older running back, older quarterback. Like, why are they going to rebuild half of their team and then, try and play? I don't think they're going to do that. But logic doesn't always insert itself into the conversation. Sometimes teams make stupid moves and they're unpredictable. What's up, Big Jim? What round would I draft Lamar Jackson? I don't know that I'm drafting him this year, man, because I don't think I'd take him anywhere near his ADP, which is probably in the 3rd round. And I'm not messing with that. I'd rather have Herbie. Give me Herbs. Give me Herbs in the 4th round. Give me Josh Allen at 3.8. I'm not going near Lamar. I feel like he's going to get hurt, man. I'm not going near Lamar. Big Jim in the house. What's up? There's a rumor I saw that Rodgers wants Jordan Love traded for him to stay. Bro, Double A, I don't know that I would. I mean, I suppose it could be true, but he's not worried about Jordan Love unless Jordan Love did something to him, like pissed in his locker or tried to take his girl. I don't think Aaron Rodgers even thinks about Jordan Love. Jordan Love ain't taking the job from nobody. That guy's not ready. I've heard all kinds of things where he's not even the guy they'd turn to necessarily if let's say they traded A-Rod. I think it only have to be some kind of beef between them, and maybe that's true. Maybe that will come out. Someone I'm most excited to see play the season: CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Clyde. I want Clyde. I want the revenge tour of Clyde. Pitts could be somewhat of a Julio if Julio is traded. No, I mean, Pitts is going to be. Could he see an uptick if Julio goes? Certainly, but I think the tight end position is going to be guaranteed a certain amount of volume anyway. You know what I mean? Could they run him? Could they use him differently? Maybe. I think I'd have to look at that once, if Julio gets traded, what they're saying about how they're going to use Pitts. But I don't know that it changes too much, man. I think what it does is it affects maybe Ridley more than it affects Kyle Pitts, who will probably get, X number of, targets no matter what from his position. I think the targets will probably be there. You think Pitts could? Okay, got that one. Hey, what's up, Leonardo? How do you feel about Kamara this year without Breeze and possibly Winston? I you're forgetting the guy who I think will eventually be the starter, and that's Taysom Hill. They're paying Taysom Hill the bigger contract. Granted, it's all voidable each year, so they can get out of it, but they're paying him $140 million. So even if they can get out of that contract, that's a big contract, bro. Big commitment. They're paying him, in my opinion, to be the starter. And they're also going to put him in at the goal line and anywhere probably near the red zone and taking out Winston more often than anybody probably is expecting. And that's going to leave Winston looking lesser because guess who's going to be scoring the touchdowns? Guess who's going to be looking good in their bread and butter area of where they dominate? Taysom Hill. That's where his bread and butter is. And you're not going to have him playing, from 20 to 20, but playing inside the 20s, 20 to the end zone. He's going to look pretty good. He's going to be right where he belongs, and Winston's going to be the guy that's going to be playing the place where the most mistakes will probably happen. And I think eventually Taysom Hill starts. But I'm not worried about Kamara. Kamara survived. Kamara had, 81 receptions, and 81 receptions in back-to-back-to-back seasons his first 3 years in the NFL. And then last year, in the so-called collapse of Alvin Kamara's PPR value, he outdid himself. And what was it, 86 or 87? I think it was like 86 receptions or whatever. He outperforms his 81. He's tied every year. It's 81, 81, 81. Craziest thing in the world to get 81 receptions for 3 straight years. But he has 86 or whatever. He beat it. And everyone's worried about Alvin Kamara. Everybody's worried about a guy who had 6 touchdowns and 150 or whatever he had in week 16. They used him on the ground more as they, I think, are transitioning a tiny bit into a more run oriented offense, or they'll run at least a little more. And they kind of wanted to test drive that out in week 16, which was really nice. 83, thank you. That's pretty nice to see. Kind of like when Dalvin Cook, when we knew that they were going to do this run-heavy system, Minnesota in like weeks, I don't know, was it 15, 16, and 17? They tried out their new offense heading into Dalvin Cook's breakout year in was it 2018? 2019, 2018? I forget. That year that we predicted on the show that Dalvin Cook would be a top 5 running back. It's in the intro of the video. That was similar in my opinion. They tested out the offense at the tail end of that year. We got a chance to see, okay, that's what Dalvin Cook did. He looked pretty good. The offense was running good. We knew what they were going to come into the next year with. Dalvin Cook was going to explode. I think it was 2018 that happened, and then 2019 was the breakout year, right? So Dalvin Cook, we got a big taste of it. I think we got a taste of what the Saints might want to do more with Kamara, which is run him on the ground. And the other thing people aren't thinking about is that Alvin Kamara didn't have a chance. Please hit the thumbs up on your way in and wipe your feet at the front door, please. I got 11 thumbs up, and we got 25 to like 30, 40 people in here. In and out, like, please take off your shoes, and wipe your feet. Alvin Kamara had a Taysom Hill come in that was not prepared to be a quarterback. He was the backup quarterback, but yet he didn't practice as the quarterback. He wasn't listed as the backup quarterback. That's why I forget who told me in this live stream, actually. No, it was on Clubhouse. Because I always wondered why, when Breeze went down, Taysom Hill didn't go in the game when he was the guy they wanted to be the starter. It was because he wasn't listed as a quarterback. He couldn't actually go into the game, that game. So they had to wait until the next game, list him as a quarterback. But point being is Taysom Hill didn't prepare as a quarterback. Okay? So when you don't prepare as a quarterback, how do you expect a guy like Alvin Kamara that feeds off of planned dump offs and plays that are designed to get Alvin Kamara the football? How do you expect Alvin Kamara to survive at his same usage level and production level when his quarterback doesn't know the plays? His quarterback doesn't know the plays. Taysom Hill is preparing as a starter, as a starting quarterback, preparing as a quarterback all offseason long. That is fantastic news. That means that he's going to be on the same page with Alvin Kamara. That means that Taysom Hill is going to know the offense a lot better than he did last year. And those things explain why Kamara vanished in the PPR game, because Taysom Hill couldn't run the same plays that Breeze would run. So that answers that question there. I haven't heard your take on Devonta Smith for Dynasty yet, bro. I've got a ton of it out there, Tony. I'm glad to see you, man. Good to see you here, Tony. We got a lot to recap. Any predictions for Deshaun Watson, Tony? I'd love to hear what you're thinking on that. My Devonta Smith prediction is this guy's going to be a top 6 wide receiver in fantasy football in 1.5 years. We'll say 1 to 1.5 years. That means heading out of, so we have a full rookie year, and either we feel that way about him heading into this time next year, heading into 2022, or by like midway through the year. So I'm going to give it a 1, no change, 33% chance that he plays 2021 at all. And do you think there's almost a guarantee that he misses at least half a year, even if he settles on all the cases? So Devonta Smith, Tony, I see as a top 6 fantasy football wide receiver in 1 to 1.5 years. So what do you say? Turkey, call him a turkey? Big Tony Turkey coming through. Look at Silver with the autocorrect. Way to piss off Tony the Tiger, bro. Yes, 2021 at all, 33%. And yes, he will miss at least 4 games, probably 8 is Tony's prediction, even if he settles every one of the cases. But Tony, the concern I have, man, and we talked about this before, was that Deshaun Watson, I mean, to get all 20, I believe 2 people dropped out, but to get all 20 to 22 people, however, depending on how many are left, to agree, all of them, I just don't know how it's going to happen. Like, Tony, is that common that over 20 people will be like talked into settling? I mean, they're all in civil for a reason, right? Civil is monetary. But are some of them in civil court because there was no anything criminal being looked at and they wanted to provoke that? Or is, like, in your mind, all 100% of them in it for the money, so they will settle? Like, I'm curious to know how. Like, I can understand if there's 2 or 3 people or one person that settlement's like 99% likely, right? Like you said, at 95, I think 95 to 98% of all civil cases get settled is what I think you threw out there when you were on the show. But with 20 individual cases, yes, consolidated, but individual, what is the percentage, Tony, in your mind that 20 of them would settle? It can happen. Depends largely on the degree to which the attorney is the leader. Okay. You mean like if he's like from the beginning being like, okay, let's all do this. Hey, let's do this. Hey, let's do this. He pulled all 20 of them in and said, I'm going to get you some money. Follow my lead. I think I'm picking up what you're throwing down, Tony. What I do want to say about Devonta Smith while you're here and you're asking the good question, where do I rank the man? This dude is electric. This dude can go and get a jump ball as good as anybody already in the NFL. And maybe Jamar Chase and him, you could argue, are going to be the top 2 jump ball players in the next decade. Like, Devonta Smith knows how to get a football. Devonta Smith knows how to manipulate defenders and the space around him and dominate the space around him. I don't care if Devonta Smith is 165 to 175 pounds. I don't care if they got to water him down and shove him on the field to get him at a playing weight that everybody's comfortable with. I could care less what people feel about his weight. We've heard a bunch of D-backs already support his weight and say that it doesn't matter. We've seen other NFL players say, I don't care about his weight. Coach Hugh Jackson doesn't care at all about his weight. I had him on the show. I can't find anybody that I trust with a lot of confidence that I go to for answers myself that are saying they're worried at all about his weight. When I go to an NFL player, when I go to a former NFL player or a current NFL player, and I talk to them, and I've had a number of conversations with people, whether it would be on Clubhouse or Spaces conversation, or my boy Barry, who came on the show the other day, and we talked about this, former Ravens running back, Super Bowl champ, former Super Bowl champ. He came on my show, and you guys saw this on Tuesday, and we talked about Devonta Smith, and he has no concerns whatsoever about Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith can find a way to get open. Devonta Smith will not get dominated at the line of scrimmage. He will not get dominated in press coverage. In fact, he did the opposite at the college level. And you could say, oh, the college level is different than the pro level. What world do you live in where you think you can talk about that, like you can't then have to defend it for every other college player coming out? When somebody says that to me, I'm like scratching my head for like 10 minutes when they say to me, Smitty, okay, I know what you're saying. You're saying Devonta Smith dominated press coverage at the college level. In FBS, he was the number one, I believe the number one FBS college football player in press coverage at yards, receptions, and touchdowns, I believe. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I believe he was number one in all three stat categories in press coverage. Number one. And people have the audacity to come to me and say, Smitty, but that was at the college level. He's going to get dominated on the line at the pro level. How do you have a conversation with somebody that talks about college stats and says, yeah, but in the pros it will be different? That's the way it is for every single player that's coming out of college. You can't speak about it with Devonta Smith and not about other players. You can't talk about how that won't work when he dominated the people at his level. As you progress through professional sports, even as you progress through high school and middle school, when you're on a whole nother level than other people, it carries with you as you get to each additional level. Devonta Smith is bringing a particular set of skills he's acquired over a long career, skills that make him a nightmare for DBs and people that keep saying stuff about him. He's going to run circles around people. You can't even get your hands on him. His footwork and quickness and ability to get open are unmatched coming out of college football. He had more than 600 yards, more than any other player in FBS, over 600 more receiving yards than any other player in FBS, and people are still talking smack about this guy, acting like he can't do this at the next level, that there's going to be some change that happens where you dominate people around you, you dominate at this level, you dominate at that level. Oh, but when you go to the next level, guess what? You're not going to have that edge anymore. We're just going to take it from you because we don't like how much you weigh. Devonta Smith's going to tear it up and be elite. Just saw the title of the video. If Julio goes to the Niners, I'm honestly done with any of the receiving options, including Kittle. I can understand being worried about that. Gallup, scallop potatoes, and CD lamb chops ain't happening. Not sure what that means. Tony says, dude, thank you. I keep hearing the analytics guys saying Devonta is a beta, but I thought it was the best wide. Yeah, bro. Let me tell you one thing, Tony. I've been doing this 19 years. I hear it all the time. I hear people say, I was back when Adrian Peterson was drafted. I remember hearing he's too tall. He's too upright. Adrian Peterson won't translate. He's too tall. It won't work. Like, everybody talking about these body styles and frames not coming over and translating. Kyler Murray's too short. Rondell Moore is going to be another one. Rondell Moore is too short, 5'7", can't work. Tyreek Hill's not that much taller than him. Tyreek Hill's probably 5'8", 5'8.5". Rondell Moore is a 4.29 runner. Probably you could argue just as quick and fast as Tyreek Hill. 4.29. Rondell Moore squats over 600 pounds. That's more than most linemen squat. He squats over 600 pounds. The dude is going to be amazing. And everybody talking about weight, everybody talking about size, none of that matters. And I know people will reference Hollywood Brown and how Hollywood Brown failed. You know why Hollywood Brown failed and is continuing to fail? It's his quarterback. It's Lamar Jackson. And everybody thinking that Bateman and Williams and this receiving crew, Watkins, is going to produce consistently. I think they're kidding themselves because Lamar doesn't produce wide receivers like that. He doesn't lean on people heavily and overflood somebody with targets. That's not Lamar's game. And so Hollywood Brown, that's on me because I thought Lamar was going to develop differently in last year. Coming into that year, we would develop a little bit more as a passer, figure out how to lock onto a guy like Hollywood Brown. Lamar can't do that. And so for everybody to look to Hollywood Brown as a blueprint for failure because he's too small, Hollywood Brown is really good, you guys. Anybody still doubting him talent-wise, there's nothing I can say to you because we don't have any evidence to the contrary. But I can tell you that Hollywood Brown in the right spot would have been something special. And I still believe that he could find his way into a situation in time where he could be, but windows close fast in the NFL, and Hollywood Brown probably won't ever develop into what we thought he could become. But there were flashes of it, even as a rookie in week 1, flashes of it. Like, this dude could be electric in the NFL. Tony, I think you're onto something with that. Stafford is going to ball in LA. One of those Ram wide receivers is wide receiver 1 material. Is it Cup, Woods? You don't know. Hollywood has a case of the dropsies, in your opinion. I mean, how much of it is a throw in the situations that Lamar puts him in, though? Because I've seen that guy train, and Hollywood Brown catches a ton. His footwork's amazing. He's quick. He's on point. There was a point during the year where Hollywood Brown was so frustrated with Lamar. And we could blame the drops on him. We could blame the drops. We don't know. But I think Lamar, the point is, coming into 2021, don't trust Lamar to turn Bateman into a star. I'm not doing it. St. Brown, I like Brown. To address Goff, is Mahomes the number 1 overall pick in a 10-team Superflex redraft? You can make a case for McCaffrey still. You can make a case for Josh Allen even if you wanted, but he's in that conversation. No question about it. It all depends on how you draft, your strengths as a drafter in a super flex league and the trending in your league. There are some super flex leagues where you can land an Aaron Rodgers, even in this 2021 season. You can land Aaron Rodgers and Jalen Hurts in rounds 4 and 5. And there's other super flex leagues where literally Stafford and Baker Mayfield are gone by the beginning of the third or the middle third. So it totally just depends on the league. It totally depends on a lot of different things that I can't really answer for you. So my advice would be to make sure you know a little bit of the history behind your league before you take anybody's advice as if it's like fact and law. But in generally speaking, absolutely Mahomes in a super flex, especially a mandatory two QB league. But in a super flex league, he does command number 1 to 4 overall value. As for Stafford, I'm going to probably put Stafford in a category of like 7 to 12 overall for quarterbacks in 2021. I know that probably will upset some people who think he's 5 to 6 or whatever. But my thinking with Stafford is that he's going to take a little time to get adjusted and build rapport with those wide receivers and learn that offense. He's smart enough. He's a veteran. I think he could certainly be that guy that everybody's like, damn, what a year. Top 5 is possible. But I don't know that I draft him where I'm drafting top 5 guys. So if I can get away with him later, I do agree. I do like Stafford a lot. But I'm definitely not going to hold out hope that he just, kicks it off strong. Look at Tom Brady. Granted, we had COVID last year, but Tom Brady took a little time to get adjusted and grew with his wide receivers. And he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. And it took him a lot of time to develop and get that rapport built. So I don't know how I feel about Stafford early on. I think by midseason he'll be firing on all cylinders. But that's a good topic. McCaffrey, when healthy, in my opinion, is a huge positional advantage at running back. Yep, I agree, Brennan. Put them in order: Higgins, Boyd, Chase. Even in redraft, especially in Dynasty. In Dynasty, it's not even close. Not even a conversation in Dynasty. But in redraft, I'm still putting Chase number 1. I'm putting Higgins number 2 and Boyd number 3. And you might say, well, but Higgins has all this upside and potential. Well, I'm sorry, but so does Cortland Sutton. But Jerry Jeudy's taken over. It's Jerry Jeudy's team. And the same thing with Jamar Chase. And Jamar Chase, you could argue, has more rapport than even Higgins does with Burrow. So give me the guy that played with him in college. Give me the guy that knows him like the back of his hand. Give me the guy that made Jamar Chase into the player he became in college and the high prospect he became coming into 2021. Smitty, hop on the Darnell Mooney hype train. I'm already on that train. I love Mooney. Mooney's great. Mooney's one of the best late, and you can get him late. I have an ADP ranking up, and Mooney's not even in the top 150. 147. I think I go to 147. Mooney's not even listed in the top 147. So you want to talk about one of the bigger sleepers in 2021? It's Mooney. You don't have to talk me into that, bro. I'm already on that train. Don't you see me? I'm not in the exact front. Like I won't call myself the conductor of that one, like I will with Lamb or other players. But I've been on the train for a while, bro. You just keep walking by me. Um, Thoughts on Watson's situation. Dan, you just missed Tony the Tiger. Tony was on here talking about it a little bit with us, and he said 33% chance he plays it all in 2021. And there's a high, I forget what he said, if it was 100% chance or just pretty darn guarantee, almost a guaranteed chance that even if he does play in 2021, and let's say they settle on all 20 of the cases. And in that settlement, Tony, if you're still here, correct me if I'm wrong, but in that settlement, you would have in writing information that says that Deshaun Watson did nothing wrong. And so that would then essentially kill any potential um, criminal investigation. But even in that scenario, that's the best case scenario for Deshaun Watson. Even in that scenario, you're talking about a guy that's probably going to get suspended 4 to 8 games at a minimum for putting the league in a bad place, for admitting that he was actually consensually, he says, involved in pretty much most of what was going on. That is a bad light to be in. That certainly did not put the NFL in the right place. And they could probably say to him, there are, Tony, I don't know if you're still here, but I'm sure there are conduct policies he broke by reaching out to all these people in a way that I'm sure there's somewhere in writing, like, this is what you do in this kind of situation. You go to our people that we have listed for this, this, and this, or something for the massage stuff and all that. I'm sure there's somewhere in writing that they could concoct and no pun intended, pull up and say, you violated this, boy. You violated this. You shouldn't have done this. It goes against this policy or this conduct, um, code of conduct or whatever. There's got to be what he did, going and reaching out to these individual people, one after the other, regardless of whether it was consensual, is probably going to be a problem for the NFL. So they're going to suspend him. Tony says, yes, each release will include a specific denial of any tort or criminal action. Tony, I'm looking behind me. Just if something happens to me tonight, you're gonna prosecute whoever shanks me from behind. I got robbed one time at gunpoint in the parking lot, so I have like my head on a swivel. I'm not scared, but I certainly do the swivel, and I can kind of see behind me with the camera. But yeah, I had a dude point one right at my head, and he was shaking, and he was supposed to. I think he was supposed to put an end to Senior Smitty, but he got scared. He was shaking like crazy. It was a few years ago. I really want to believe Watson here, but reaching out to a massage therapist on Instagram when he definitely has a top training staff that will take care of that is super sketch. Yeah, and I mean it fits a profile for somebody that wants to impress and wow everybody, and then that fits the profile for what is being claimed a little bit. So innocent until proven guilty for sure, but there's definitely a profile there for somebody that one after the other says sign this non-disclosure, and come over to massage Deshaun, like that. That's definitely. Thankfully, you're all right, Smitty. Yeah, I would have never. This is right before I started in the fantasy industry, so it was a number of years ago. And this is not the same story as, and even Tony couldn't have got me out of this trouble. But this isn't the same story as when I got thrown into the back of a Federale cop car in Tijuana when I was 21, no, 20. I think I was 20 years old. I was cuffed, hogtied, tossed into the back of a Federale car, driven into an alley, and robbed blind by the Federales. And Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's nothing you could do for me. Uh, if I ever did go missing, I would definitely have I would, if I was missing in jail in Tijuana and they gave me a phone call, I would call a relative, and say, get a hold of Tony the Tiger, get him down here ASAP. They have no filing system down there. They just throw you in a jail, and it costs like what, 20 grand, Tony, for a family member to come find you. He's not licensed in Mexico. I'm not going back. Don't worry. I haven't returned to Tijuana or anywhere in Mexico. I haven't crossed that border ever since I got hogtied and robbed blind by the wonderful men in uniform. that that cold dark night. Any more crazy stories? I told everybody my Taco Bell story when I was 16 years old. My first job was Taco Bell, and guys, I was always five. I'm 6'2" now, 6'2", 6'2.5". Probably shrunk a little bit. I'm probably 6'2" now. I slouch, but I was at Taco Bell. I was 5'2", 5'1", pretty much most of high school. I was like 5'6", maybe my end of my junior year, and then I sprouted up, and I grew 2 inches in college. Believe it or not, I was a late bloomer, man. I didn't have an ounce of chest hair on me until I was in college. Like I was a late bloomer, and so I was 5'1", sitting there getting that taco bag ready for this group of high school football players, varsity seniors driving through, and just so happened my where I was living was far away from my school, so this was not my school. This was a school that I knew about. It was a rough school, kind of near the Taco Bell, and they pull up and they're like, "Give us our bag," and they said a word. They call me a p word, "Give us the bag, you." And so I gave them the bag, and I go, "What?" And they just like stopped and said, what time you get off? And I'm like, I'm not telling you. Like, what time you get off? And I'm like, I'm not telling you. And so like, we'll be back. And they peeled out. And then so I called my brother. He's a senior. I was a freshman. He went to my school though. But I'm like, I can get my brother down here. He'll escort me out of the building at least, into my car. These guys coming back. Can't get a hold of him for anything. And all of a sudden, he ironically, 5 minutes later, pulls up in a truck with all of his buddies, and they're like, "Bro, what's up?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, like saving the day. My brother's here, all of his friends, roughest dudes you ever meet. Like these guys, like go and rough up a party. That you don't let them into a party, they'll go in and steal your cake. Like these are rough dudes that my brother's with. I'm like, I'm saved. So they're like, "We'll be back." I told them all about it. They're like, "We'll be back," like screaming and cussing in the back of the pickup. And I'm just like, I'm just like, I'm feeling like like I've got, the Avengers coming. And then, hours go by and all of a sudden we start to lock up. And then all of a sudden you hear on the glass and the whole football team, is lined up with the cars on. It was like a movie. All the lights were on in a circle. And, here's this 5'1" freshman about to get blasted by the senior. I like to meet him today. If you're watching, Frank, meet me in the parking lot right now, Frank. I'm ready. I'm grown up now, boy. I'm ready. But Frank, that wasn't his name. I don't know his name. So they're all lined up, and I'm calling my brother. No answer. No answer. No answer. He never showed. None of them showed. So I had to squeeze out that little, Taco Bell. Those little tiny drive-through windows. They're tiny. I squeezed out that Taco Bell window, just this way. Me and Sanjay. I had to take Sanjay home to cook, and we escaped out of there. Brother passed out. They all passed out drunk. They never showed up. I was all by myself, and I slipped out of there though. Those guys didn't see me coming. I was like Miko Hardman, just slipped right out past everybody. Yeah, born and raised in Arizona. All right, enough of that. Hit me with some fantasy questions before I head out for the night. Smitty's pretty tall. Yeah, I'm tall now. You hear me, Frank? You hear me, Frank? I'm ready for you, Frank. I'm gonna take Frank. I'm gonna take Frank down to Tijuana and introduce him to my friends. Oh, yeah, Tony. I'll keep that in mind. You're not licensed in Arizona, or I'm sorry, Mexico. But Tony's. Can you reach out to Tony Turley, please? I'm never going back. Don't worry. I'm I'm not scared of much. I'm not scared of much. I'm barely scared of parking lots anymore. I've had a gun to my head. I'm barely scared of parking lots, but I'm a little tiny bit afraid of going to Tijuana. Just a little bit. Smitty, be nice to Frank. He now lives in a trailer park, has a pregnant girlfriend and 6 kids. Yeah, Frank's probably not too happy. Frank after high school, I'm sure Frank took a turn. I think Drew Lock hasn't been given a proper chance to succeed. Maybe Dan, but I don't like Drew Lock at all. And I went on record pretty hardcore heading into that season saying Lock would fail, and Lock is not the answer. Lock is not good. Lock is not the answer. Jerry Jeudy still doesn't have his starting quarterback either on the roster or he's buried like Tannehill, and for whatever reason we're not noticing it. But the starting quarterback, the future of that Denver Bronco passing attack, in my opinion, is not currently on the roster. And Jeudy just needs to survive another year, develop, get kind of near that top 12 wide receiver range, which I believe he still can do because Jeudy is that good. There are multiple NFL backs in the NFL that have said Jerry Jeudy is the best route runner in the entire NFL, and that's off of his rookie year. There are multiple defensive backs that have said that. There are a lot of people that talk about this guy. He was one of the highest touted route runners coming out of college in the last decade. And Jerry Jeudy, you can talk about drops all you want. Devontae Adams dropped footballs. Everybody drops footballs. And he also had a carousel of QB garbage and Drew Lock throwing him the football. Let's not judge him dropping the ball too harshly. Jerry Jeudy is going to be a top 10 wide receiver in the future. And he's one of the biggest steals. I got a video dropping tomorrow. It's ADP. It's about my ADP. You can get my ADP on sleeperu.com, sleeper, the letter u.com. You can also get it on smitty1.com, and that ADP is sortable. You can filter it. It has 5 sources. You can sort it by position. You can search by name. You can compare 3, 4, 5, 6 people and narrow it down to just those people, so you can get rid of all the peripheral stuff. It's the best ADP tool you can find. Go to smitty1.com and click that freaking link at the top that says ADP. Check it out, load it, give it a test run. I guarantee you it's the best ADP tool you've ever run across in fantasy football. And so on that ADP tool, go ahead on the drop down and select Jerry Jeudy or search for him in the search box, or just find him in the one, I don't know, it's got to be like the 100 range, or yeah, somewhere around there. Jerry Jeudy, like steal, absolute monster steal of 2021. There are about 3 or 4 guys I identify in this video that drops tomorrow. The video is going to be called like breaking down the ADP, finding league winners in ADP. Who are the league winners in fantasy football looking at ADP? That's what the video is going to be about. And Jerry Jeudy is one of the players I identify as a league winner based on ADP. Last time I saw Frank, he was selling Pokemon. He might be. Man, if Watson goes to Denver, it'll probably require Jerry Jeudy to go to Houston. No, I don't think they would do that. They sent Cortland Sutton before they'd send Jerry Jeudy. And for some reason, people think Sutton's going to be better than Jeudy. I have no idea why. I'm a very novice film grinder compared to the most, and I watched Jerry Jeudy run routes, and my jaw drops to the floor. He's amazing. Attaboy, Matt. Rank these sleeper tight ends: Cook, Troutman, Blake, Jarwin, and Cole Kmet. I'd probably go Cook. I don't know how involved he's going to be. I hope he's involved. I hope he's healthy. I hope he ends up being a target hog, because I think there's enough passes to go around to make someone kind of shockingly good in LA, and it could be Cook. Cook could have a big year, or he could completely not be targeted like we think. I don't really know how I'm going, what direction I'm going yet. I would say Komet probably next because I think he's got the talent, but with his situation, I don't know either. I don't know that any of those guys feel rock solid. I think the two steals of I'd say the number one steal in 2021 for tight ends, and I talk about this on the ADP show that I'm dropping tomorrow, and that's Bobby Tunyon, Robert Tunyon, Bobby Boy Tunyon, going in like the hundreds, man. Like, why? He's the number 4 tight end last year. He had 11 touchdowns. He had Aaron Rodgers completely beginning a nice rapport with him, and he didn't get fed as much in the beginning of the year. As A-Rod started to trust him, Bobby Boy Tunyon became more heavily involved, and I don't really know why people are sleeping on him. I don't get it. Finns to win the AFC East. I don't know. I mean, it's possible, bro. It's possible. Smitty, your biggest bull prediction this year? Your biggest bull or bold? Biggest bull prediction? I mean, Super Bowl prediction or your biggest bold prediction? I've got them all. I've got a lot of them out there. The most of them you will find on sleeperu.com. That's why I have the site. That's why I sell the content on there. But you're going to find CeeDee Lamb on a lot of my content for bold predictions. So he's going to be one of them. And I love acquiring CeeDee Lamb in every single league I'm in. But this ADP video is going to have a lot of them too, bro. So watch it. It drops tomorrow on YouTube. It's my ADP league winner video. Gronk late all day. Gronk's okay late. I don't mind that, but it's not. I don't know if I'd say it's a steal. Rank the Bengals, Browns, Ravens, Steelers. So I've talked about the NFC North quite a bit, and AFC North quite a bit. And I think the AFC North is not as tough as people like to suggest it is. I think the AFC North has some weaknesses. And I think that all 4 of these teams have the potential to take a tumble. The AFC North is not the toughest division in the NFL. The NFC West is. The Niners, the Cardinals, the Seahawks, the Rams. You find me a division that has 4 teams like that could probably make the playoffs if you spread them out into other divisions. The NFC West is by far, just like Brandon just said right now, the toughest division in the NFL. The AFC North is not. The AFC North can tumble a little bit. I think the Browns probably win the division. I think the Ravens probably finish second, and I think the Bengals push whoever finishes second. They push them for second. They may not finish there yet. They may need another year. The Bengals are going to turn heads, I think. I'm not saying they're going to win the division, but I'm placing a little monetary little nugget on that one because I think it's like 2,300 plus 2,300 or something for the Bengals to win their division, and it's not that crazy. Pittsburgh fell apart last year, fell off the face of the earth. Big Ben, who knows what we're getting? Lamar Jackson completely vanished the first half of the year. We've seen him falter. That could happen again. The Browns are the Browns, man. They look turned around. They have a good defense. They had a good draft. Probably that's why I'm leaning because of their draft. I'm leaning back in the direction of, okay, they're the more likely to win the division in 2021. But is anybody would you bet your house that Baker wouldn't falter? No, you wouldn't. So it's a susceptible division in my opinion. 49ers favorite in the NFC. If they get Julio, I would say yes. AFC North is second, though. I don't think so, bro. I don't think the AFC North is second. I don't. I think, based off 2 teams, if you talk about the AFC West, you talk about the AFC West, you got the Chiefs and the Chargers alone. I feel like have that potential to be called the best division just for those 2 teams. I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with that. I know a lot of people don't think the Chargers are going to be what I think they're going to be, but I think the Chargers, they're going to make Herbert potential MVP candidate right from the beginning of the year. So I don't know. I just don't think the AFC North is as tough as everybody thinks it is. I just don't. I think, there are a lot of tough divisions, but the only one that feels like tough from top to bottom, the only one is the NFC West with the Cardinals, the Niners, the Rams, and the Seahawks. Every single one of those teams could potentially make the playoffs in a different division. And it's going to be weird, like at the end of the year with these records, if they're all, especially with the extra game, if they're all above 10 wins, double digit wins, what the hell happens? Like, this could be a weird year where you have 10, 11 wins, you don't make the playoffs. Chargers got 9, 10 wins in them. I think the Raiders and Broncos are falling apart, though. True. But I think the Chargers and Chiefs alone are going to make that division crazy good. Trade review, Mac Jones, Amon, Davis Mills for Deshaun Watson, and Darnell Mooney. Yeah, I take Mooney, bro. Mooney and Watson. I mean, there's still upside with Watson, for sure. And I'm not even a big fan of acquiring Watson at all, but it's a pretty damn good trade. Find me a sleeper. Find me on sleeper and the Chargers, Brian said. I don't know what that means, bro. Wish Andrew Luck would come back, says Dan. Can you imagine if he came back? I'd like to see him in Denver. Herbert for MVP. Damn straight, Brian. Damn straight. I think Julio should go to the Colts. He could. That's definitely a team that Mighty Buffoon that might end up landing him if he does get traded. They might be a team that might overpay because they think they feel like they can win now. And they could. They get Julio. The Colts are talked about on a whole different level, in my opinion. Anyone that says AFC North is the hardest division is trying to justify a fall from grace after 11-0. 49ers favorites in the NFC. They get Julio. I think I'm caught up on the questions here. Imagine Luck plays at tight end. Drew Lock. Julio to the Titans would be dope, says Tyler. I don't think any of us fantasy guys want Julio in Tennessee, man. There's not enough. I don't want to see him diminish the value of A.J. Brown, and I think he would. I think he would a little bit. I don't know how much, but I certainly wouldn't think it would be a good thing. Like, I worry a little bit about Corey Davis being gone and Jonnu Smith because now defenses might key on A.J. Brown. It's a little bit of a worry, but I don't know that I want the replacement of those two options to be Julio. Then again, will Julio even stay healthy for a full year? Maybe it would be good. Maybe it'd be okay. Luck will come back and join Bruce and the Bucks after Tom retires. Luck's window is pretty much closed, bro. Like, maybe he could come back now and we'd have a debate about it. I don't know. It'd be definitely debated. Nobody'd be like, he's gonna be the top 5 guy. Like, there'd be a lot of debate about it, like whether he'd still have it. Did his talent diminish while he was off? Like, Luck. How old is Luck? Can somebody look that up? How old is Luck? It would be interesting, but he's going to have to do it quick, not when Tom Brady retires in 4 years. Tebow in the last round. I don't know, bro. It depends on the scenario. I haven't drafted him. I can't draft him, but you never know. A.J. Brown, wide receiver 1 season. He could be the number 1 wide receiver, bro. Tim Tebow, top 5. I love how everyone's on A.J. Brown, though, this year. Like, it feels good because he was, like, the face of the entire content from last year. Him and DK Metcalf were, like, the face of the show. So, I'll admit my faults in Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but everybody missed on Clyde. It wasn't like I was the only one on Clyde. But that was scenario, that situation. I think that'll all get rectified this year, especially at 3.5, 4.1 value. Clyde's a steal. Only 31? He's 31. He's still got time. I stand a little corrected on that one. I thought he'd be more like 33, 30, like 31? 31? I was not expecting 31. I was expecting 33, 34, turning 34, 31. He could still do it. He could still come back. We need to start beating that drum. Luck, get on over to Denver, bro. Get on over to Denver or Jacksonville. They could use a tight end. when Tebow retires. Or Bill Belichick might want to run a 3 tight end set. Come back, Luck. Come back. God, 89. He'll be 32 during the regular season. That's interesting, Buffoon. Thanks for dropping that knowledge from the mighty Buffoon College. Calvin Ridley. It's not Calvin Ridley's name. Bump if Julio leaves. Dan, this is a great question. Great question. If Julio leaves, I kind of feel like Pitts will be. I feel like Pitts being there helps. I think if Julio had left full time, like gone, traded, not there, the presence, the thought of him being around, him coming back, like I would have been a little worried, like I am a little worried about AJ Brown getting keyed on. I'm not saying defenses will have a ton of success keying on AJ Brown because the man's a dominant dude. He's like Calvin Johnson, dominating space around him. Later, Tony. I appreciate you, man. Keep coming back, bro. I want to see you here often. It helps the show out. We love seeing you in here, Tony. Everybody give Tony a round of applause. I think Ridley will be fine. If Julio gets sent packing, then Kyle Pitts will help alleviate any double team concerns that I have. And Mike Davis is a good PPR back, so I'm okay. I'm okay with Julio leaving. It could help Ridley. And we saw Ridley do well when Julio was out and Julio wasn't doing well. So I do feel like it's probably a better thing for Julio to leave than to stay. And in some cases, you wouldn't want, like Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith both leaving was, I think, potentially not what it's going to as good a news as people make it out to be. It still could be okay. It might not affect them much, but it's definitely a concern when there's not enough weapons. But Mike Davis pulls in a lot of attention. He will, from a PPR standpoint. You're gonna have to worry about where he's at on the field because he can pull in a football. Kyle Pitts can pull in a football, I hear. So I think Julio leaving's fine. I think Calvin really becomes, in a lot of people's minds, he'll become number 3 wide receiver heading into 2021. Calvin really will become a first-round pick if Julio Jones gets traded. So get ready to overpay for Ridley. And who's had him the entire time? People like us on the show here. We drafted him over and over and over in steal territory. But now everybody's going to be talking about him. Everybody's going to be like Ridley this, Ridley that. Even if Julio doesn't leave, people are going to be thinking about Ridley, talking about Ridley, looking up Ridley stats, looking up Ridley, data, looking at Ridley footage. And Ridley's going to go from right now in the 18-ish range on average to like 13 or 14. And it sucks. It sucks that Justin Jefferson's going to gain value in the coming weeks. It sucks that Ridley will gain value in the coming weeks and months. It sucks that CeeDee Lamb's going to gain value. That's why I promote everybody draft in January. So you can draft all the sleepers we're talking about early on before they rise in ADP. Do your redrafts in January, okay? Take advantage of it. But best ball, we're going to do a lot of best ball. Arizona has been approved for gaming, baby. Yeah, Arizona doing the right thing. So your boy Smitty is going to be best ball in the hell out of a bunch of best ball drafts in the coming weeks and months. So get ready to best ball our way into July and August and hopefully June, but definitely July and August. Julio to the Chiefs, that won't happen. Really already top 10, I thought. Really top 10 overall? No, his ADP's at 18. Man, I miss the days of Julio being a definite wide receiver 1, says Brendan. Hurts or Tua? Hurts by a mile. Man, I'll miss the second. Man will miss half of the season with a paper cut. Who are you talking about? No, Ridley's a top 5 wide receiver, Matt. Top 1 to 5. Like, I will say, I don't even want to disrespect him and say top 5. He's a top 1 to 5 wide receiver. Ridley was he was the number 1 wide receiver for a string of games. So when people talk about him being top 5, they need to put some damn respect on the man's name and call him top 1 to 5. When a guy's capable of being the number 1 wide receiver and has even proved it for a string of games, you must include the 1 to 5 and not just call him top 5. Next question before the security guard kicks me out of here. Finally, AZ enters the game, baby. All right, Smitty, got to head out. Always awesome to join you on the stream. I appreciate you guys. My night crew, do I not try and take care of you guys, my night crew? I know that you guys can't always see the day show. I do hope that you watch the replay. I really do hope you give the replay a full dose of your time and you give it the proper attention that it needs. My Tuesday, Thursday show, which is now moving to 5 p.m. Eastern to 7 p.m. We're going to try 2 hours for right now. I might move it back to 3 hours once we get closer to the year. But I want to make sure I don't neglect the nighttime lives, the mock drafts that haven't been happening the last week or two. So I'm going to go from, and plus 4 o'clock's a weird time. I thought I could capture a lot of people while they're still at work, listening and watching or whatever. But we're going to go to 5. We're going to go to 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays, live every Tuesday and Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. I took today off because I had a lot of things I had to plan for that couldn't be moved, that were kind of on my docket. But we're going back to, every single Tuesday and Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern to 7 p.m. every Tuesday and Thursday. And I know you guys can't watch it every time, so I do appreciate the replays. It helps the show when you do comment, thumbs up the video, and comment and ask a question, get that algorithm cooking. But I do try and take care of my night people. Is the pizza place open? They're closed right now. I'm standing right in front of it. Otherwise, I'd go in for a pizza pie. I definitely would. Smitty, let's raise LaVisca Chenault's ADP. Tell all your viewers. Matt wants you to draft LaVisca Chenault. Why? Because you want Chark to fall? AJ Brown versus DK this season, bro. It could go either way. I love both of them. Call it a tie. I love both. Smitty, DK, Pat Mahomes first round. No, no. Toto Poe. No, bro. Mahomes, you don't take Mahomes in the first round. Crazy. In a super flex, yeah. All right, Smitty, got to head out. Oh, I already saw that one. See you, Brendan. I think I'm out of here too. I gotta go run. Terry McLaurin eats this season. I think so. I think Fitzpatrick knows how to feed the man. Fitzy boy's gonna give him a full course meal on a regular basis. Fitzy boy. I love Fitzpatrick in Washington. I hope he stays healthy. Fitzy's only made to play 10 games, though. That's what worries me. But Heineke might come in and ball. I think we might be okay. But Terry McLaurin definitely has a lot of upside to be a low-end wide receiver 1 in 2021. I'll leave you with this. Make sure you know that you can order my text service and text me on demand at heysmitty.com. Text me, okay? Let's talk about whatever you want. You can yell at me. You can ask me for a recipe, a Netflix recommendation. Hey, Smitty, let's cook up a trade, okay? Let's get a trade. Here's my roster, okay? Go get me a player. Tell me what I need to do, Smitty, and I'll tell you. So heysmitty.com is how you order my on-demand text service. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate you. And then don't forget my show drops tomorrow on the YouTube channel. The league winners, looking at ADP, who wins you a league in 2021 based on their ADP. I break all that down and more. The Fantasy Football Show ends now.